Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is TheGrungiOne coming to you with the first game inspection of the channel. What are we inspecting today? None other than Evolve. To give every game inspection a fair chance, I will be doing at least 20 hours of gaming with the product in question. This way I feel like I have a very thorough and knowledgeable base of knowledge to ascertain both an objective and a personal view. When I present the objective part of it, I will try to stay as to the point about the game mechanics, how the game presents itself, how it handles, and any bugs that someone may incur, as well as a few issues that some gamers like to address, such as DLC, feeling of a complete game, so on and so forth. Personal review will, of course, be my personal take on the game. Now, with Evolve, I did not go into it with the hype. I didn't buy into the hype because it looked like a reiteration of a Left 4 Dead game with a sci-fi twist, which it roughly is. No matter what game type you play, it will always be 4 hunters versus 1 monster. Both objectively and personally, I wish that they had come up with different game types. I can only imagine how fun it would be if you could create your own group of hunters, not having to go through having only 1 soldier, 1 medic, 1 tracker, and 1 support. I think it would have been fun and interesting to see what the team would have come up with by themselves. Would it have been unbalanced? I have no doubt that certain groupings of the hunters would have been unbalanced. But this is a game that is supposedly flaunting that it's not balanced. That being said, I try to play every class type. I am horrible as a tracker. I fully admit this. I fully embrace it because I will never play the tracker if I can help it. The only thing that I hate worse than playing the tracker is playing as the monster. For whatever reason, they've decided to not allow chat between the monster and the hunters, which I thought would have been a fun, cheeky way of just messing with them. A little metagame, if you will. But the game handles well. It handles well for both the hunters and the monster. I have very little issues with it. Every once in a while, as the Goliath, I will have issues, but it's only if I take a certain trait at the beginning. I don't know why that happens. It may be my machine, it may be the game. Honestly, I have no idea why. It's the only time I experience any drop in frame rate. Now, I also wanted to wait until the first wave of DLC came out. As you can see, currently we are fighting against the new monster, which looks cool. I did not actually play as this monster. I kind of wish that I did before this inspection, and thus I will not do any in-depth critique of the new monster. I have played the new classes, and I will give a bit of critique on them, but overall, it is the game, not the characters themselves, that count. So objectively, it is an average party game. As anyone will say, playing a game with friends will make it better. That is not the debate here. The debate is this fun solo? Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2 had their moments of solo play, where you could play it and you felt like you were accomplishing something. There was still a story, even if it was far more tedious than playing with friends. And this game, it wears the fact that it is a party game on its sleeve. And there's nothing wrong with that. However, you would want to get in this game with at least one other person. Now, with those of us that have day jobs and conflicting schedules, that can be harder, and sometimes on the weekend, you don't want to sit down and play Evolve when you have other games. personally, my friends and I prefer tabletop games during the weekend. However, this game, I like it. It's a fun game, especially with friends. Now, that being said, the DLC, on a personal level, seems to be pushing the line. Now, I bought the early edition, which was $90-some so that I could get the first wave complete. For those of you that didn't, it looks like you'll be paying a pretty hefty sum to get the monsters or the hunters or even more to play both. And what do the new hunters bring to the table? Well, their powers aren't really anything special. I think the one that I enjoy most was Slim. He's a new healer. You will actually see him be played in a little bit. But what I really want to address is the fact that with these new characters, more plot, more lore is revealed. And that is the thing that I have issue with. Granted, they're not selling you the DLC directly so that you can learn more about the lore. They're not selling you the plot directly. They're selling it to you indirectly. And I'm not sure which is worse. As you will see later on, there is a dialogue. I made sure that I had it in this video, where Slim is talking with another DLC character, and it is revealed about how the monsters came here, or at least a speculation of how the monsters came to be. Now, and that was one of my big points before the DLC came out, is that this is very lore light. Throughout the game, you're left wondering if this is a military corporation or an industrial corporation. Is it a private military mercenary group? Is it a military, conventional military where they're split up into different quote-unquote nations or empires? What is a Black Star, or Ebon Star, as they're called? What is their purpose? Why are they interested in this planet? These are things that pick at me, but I know don't pick at everyone, so that's why it will only ever be involved in my personal review. Here is the new medic. I really enjoy him. I like his voicing. I like his abilities. And as you can see with the dialogue, you're told something that isn't blatant in the storyline, or what they press as their storyline. And at the end of the day, you really have to wonder, is this game worth it? Can I recommend this game? The good news is that I can. I would highly encourage you to make sure that at least one of your friends also has it, so that you can at least play the co-op together. Now, there are different game types. The standard is, of course, Hunt, where 4 hunters chase down the one monster and attempt to kill him before time reaches its end. Here is one of the other game types. It's Egg Hunt, where you go around blowing up the eggs, which the monster can hatch 1 egg at a time. However, during one of the previous plays, I do have to mention that the game does not express everything as well as it should. One time when I was playing with a group of 4 other friends, I was a monster. I had won the previous match during the evacuation scenario, where you go through 5 matches, and when you win a previous match, you get a bonus for the next one. As a monster, I had won the previous match, and I was given a minion. And it is slightly more powerful than the minions that you hatch from eggs. Now, I realized it, but the hunters didn't. The minion that I brought over as my reward for winning the previous match counted towards the total that they had to kill. This meant that there were 7 objectives for them to destroy, and I simply leveled up, let them hunt down the first 4, hatched the 5th, and then attack them with my 2 minions, which the game did allow at the time. I don't know about currently, they may have patched it. And they also had a bucket, which if you have played this, you know that bucket is great for this game type. He can take out eggs by himself. So while 3 hunters faced me and my 2 minions, killing the one that was hatched from the egg, the player controlling bucket destroyed the egg. My remaining minion and I killed a very confused bucket as they tried to understand why the game had it ended. Little things like that, I believe, are important. Another concept that I had read earlier, the same day as when I bought it, was that it said that rewards will carry over throughout the campaign. That is not the case. You will be rewarded, and then that reward will carry over for only the next mission. Now, I understand that it needs to be fair. And I think that is the only way where one side will not have a blatant advantage. Could you imagine a monster running around with the teleporting portals and the minions? And the little flying monsters that constantly harass the hunters? That would be awful. So for that, I do applaud them. I just wish that it would have been more clear before buying the game. Now here you'll see me playing the new hunter. Or not the new hunter, but the new tracker. I always want to call them hunters. And you will notice that I am not very good. And I can hardly blame anyone for saying that, because I am awful as a tracker. My preferred class is, of course, soldier, with my second class being either medic or support. And for the most part, all the classes do much of the same. There's little variations. I believe that the best tracker, in my opinion, is Maggie, the one that you start out with, because it is a harder class to play. You are responsible for following the monster, trapping the monster, and the fact that your passive is constantly tracking the monster is a very good advantage. Now, the tracker that I like to play is Griffin, the Australian with a harpoon gun. I love that thing. The fact that you can harpoon a monster and then fly around the map, causing them to stay in place while they try to figure out where they're hooked in, brings me so much joy. But enough about the hunters. What about the monsters? Well, the monsters are very interesting from what I played. I absolutely adore the Kraken. It is the most powerful in my opinion. It has great long range. With any monster, their natural attacks do a lot of damage. And it has a lot of utility. It can lay mines. Granted, they float in the air, but they also home in on targets nearby. These monsters are fantastic, even though in the beginning you do feel like the prey. I'm not sure if that was what they were going for, because again, I did not watch the hype. I literally just looked over the page on the day of buying it, and then bought it from what I saw and from my friend's insistence on getting it. Now, there is some issues with pop-in. It's very, very seldom and rare. The only things that it really happens for with me is the occasional building will just randomly pop in at sporadic moments, and the plants that try to eat you. I've seen nothing on the ground. One of my friends or the AI walks over them, and then I see them. That is most likely because of my machine, although I have heard from some people complaining about the same issue, that there's just a pop-in, which I'm sure can be patched without an issue. And the monsters, one of the things that I had read was that they gain abilities and appearance for what they eat. This is slightly true. A few random mob spawns of the other creatures on the map are considered rare. These are the albinos. They give temporary buffs to whoever uses it, be they monster or hunter. Now, the monsters, I think, benefit the most from this. The damage mitigation buff, fantastic for monsters. It's good for the hunters, but they have so little health that the one that I find myself taking the most often is health regeneration. It doesn't matter if they're doing less damage or I'm taking less damage, because the monster will kill me in a matter of moments no matter what, unless I'm playing a soldier. The damage buff is not all that important, in my opinion, for the hunters, because it is a war of attrition for them anyways. It is the monster that needs the damage buff. The ones that seem to benefit the hunters the most are the ability recharge and, of course, health regeneration. Now, this monster in particular, I think, at least from my experience, is the weakest one. It has consistently been the one that we're able to kill the most often, the quickest. Which is ironic that in this one, in this game, it is taking forever because I am, of course, the tracker. And like I said, I am terrible as the tracker. If I have ever played with you and I was stuck as the tracker, I apologize. You did not deserve that. And then there is the Goliath. The Goliath is the mainstay of Evolve. It's the poster boy monster. I enjoy that one. Not as much as a Kraken, but he is fun. The flame breath is just fantastic, again, especially against Bucket. Bucket will just hound you to death with turrets, and that flame breath covers such a wide area. It is magical. It is superb for Bucket. Also, it's direct damage with the jump slam and the boulder throw. The Goliath, by all means, I feel should be overpowered. However, I consistently keep going back to the Kraken for just raw damage. Lightning strikes, the ability to fly, laying mines, little force blasts. Who does not love Baby Cthulhu? It is fantastic. Now, for ranking in these game inspections, I never truly liked the number system, because when it's out of 10, 5 is supposed to be average. I cannot tell you the last time I saw an average game get an average rating. So, for the objective rating, I will strictly say if it passes the game inspection and if I can recommend you buying it. This does, in fact, pass the game inspection. There is nothing inherently wrong with it. If there's lag, it is most likely either your machine or your internet, to be honest. Unless you happen to come across the same issue with the Goliath that I do, where when you pick the charge in the very beginning, for some reason or another, you just have lag for that one match. I have no idea why. I have reported it. So hopefully, if that was an issue, it was patched. And for the personal ranking, I would honestly give this game a 6 out of 10 for a personal rating. As much as I am to loathe the number rating, I know that there's a lot of people that just want to hear, what out of 10 would you give it? And it is a slightly above average game. Why do I say that? Well, the fact that it is a party game that separates the party. If you have a party of 5, you're not going to be able to chat with everyone else. You're not going to be able to be snarky and sarcastic and, just gloat. You have to wait until the lobby to do that. And if you're playing evacuation, the lobby is on a timer. The other reasons for that is just game modes. You would think that they would do something more with it. This feels like something is missing. I wish that there was a game type where it was 2 monsters versus 6 hunters. Where there were 4 hunters versus 4 hunters. Something that just changed the game. Or added to it. It would be superb to see two monsters working together to take out a group of hunters, even at level 1. That seems like a great idea. I would love to play that game. That game does not exist here. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the first game inspection. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope that you enjoy this game if you get it. Have a good night.